Hey guys, Ryan here at Excelerator.Solutions. Today going to be going over the Vlookup function. Super important, super helpful function. If you're an analyst of any kind, you're required to know this and guaranteed to get asked if you know it in a job interview. So real quick, let's just go over that. So what is a VLOOKUP function? A VLOOKUP function will look up a value that you input. Let's say we were going to input revenue 1. It'll look it up in a different column and return a value from that row based on a column you specify. So here we just have 2. It could go as far as you want here, return any rows that you want. So here we just have basic revenue budget, revenue actual is going to marry these up for a quick budget versus actual report. So when you start typing in your functions, you will get a quick pop-up here that gives you a brief explanation of what the function is. So again, looks for a value in the leftmost column of a table and returns a value from that same row in a column that you specify. So once we get into the syntax, you can see you got 4 inputs here. Lookup value is the first one, and that is a value that we want to look up in another column. So for us here, it's revenue 1. And the table array is the data where you want that returned from. And again, as it said, the leftmost column of your selection here needs to include this value that you are looking up. So for us, that's columns A and B. You can create a named range here if you want to reference that to make that a little easier. I generally find that with VLOOKUPs, you need to be a little more dynamic, and named ranges don't always work out very well. So the third input here is column index number. That's simply the column that you want to return. It is important to note here that Excel finds the first column in your array to be 1. So for us, we would need the second column here, so we want to input the number 2. And I just want to point out that these are columns number 1 and 2 the way I had this set up, but if this was in columns B and C instead of A and B, you would still need the number 2 here because it's the column number within your array of data, not the column number of the spreadsheet. And lastly, either an approximate match or an exact match. For this scenario, and honestly 99% of the scenarios out there, you're going to be using false. So we'll go ahead and close that up, and there we go. Returns 150. You can see that was indeed the budget. If we come over here, double click to drag that down, that's awesome. Looks like it returned them all for us. However, one thing to note here is our revenue stream list is much shorter than our budget list. I did that on purpose because I want to show you another great use of the VLOOKUP function for myself is to find where I have missing values. Obviously here I could quickly see because we just have a small list, but if I'm working across workbooks or I'm working on hundreds or thousands of different points here, it's easy to use a VLOOKUP to identify what's missing from another range. So in this instance, I'm going to do my VLOOKUP here, and my lookup value is still going to be the same, still looking up the revenue stream here. Table array, in this instance, I only am really worrying about one column. I want to know if that value exists in column G. So I just highlight that column. That makes my column index number, of course, just 1 here. Again, like I said, it's within the array, not on the spreadsheet. And lastly, false. I'm looking for that exact match. So here, yeah, okay, it does find revenue 1 and returns it. However, if I go ahead and drag that down, you can see I quickly get some NAs here. And that lets me know that these are missing from this set over here. So if I'm doing a true budget versus actual, well, I need to include those because we budgeted for them. So I can quickly come over here, grab those, paste those to the bottom here, and go ahead and keep dragging this down, and I get all that. And I get a true budget versus actual. Even though these were missing from this range, I was able to quickly see that they were missing, add them over here. I use that all the time. It's a really super helpful tool within the VLOOKUP. Again, if we wanted to go ahead and finish out this report, and just put in a couple sums here and do our variance. And you see, using a VLOOKUP, I was able to quickly create a budget versus actual report, and I can hand this off. Of course, I would make it look a little nicer, but that's for another lesson. So again, thanks for tuning in, guys. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. Share and subscribe if you did. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.